This presentation is on what you need to know in order to file a water right application. We will discuss website tools for preparing an application, readiness for filing a complete application. We will introduce public land survey system, discuss duty, diversion, and other calculations, and making an application map. First, let's go over some of our website tools that can be used in getting ready to prepare an application. If you go to our website, which is www.waterrights.utah.gov, you will come to our main homepage as shown here. There are many helpful database tools found on this page. For the purposes of this presentation, we are going to focus on the tools listed on the right side of this page. The first item is the search button. When you click this button, it takes you to a new screen that lists several searches you can do. For instance, you can search by water right number, application number, name, source. The water right number is a 2-digit number followed by a dash and then subsequent numbers. An application number starts with the letter A for application to appropriate, D for diligence claim, U for underground water claim, etc. If you are searching for a change application that is based on more than one water right, you can find information in scanned documents on the water rights involved in the change application. If you look up the change application by number, all the associated water rights will be listed. Traditionally, the original change application and its correspondence has been placed on the lowest number water right included in the change application. The next item is where to find our applications and forms. Here is the link to find all the applications or forms you might need to file with the division. This is also where you update your mailing address. Please note it is the owner's responsibility to keep a current address on file. There is an easy hyperlink to get to the form, which can then be filed electronically. The third area I would like to discuss is the interactive map shown in the lower right corner of the page. When you click on this, the map will be enlarged for ease of use. The map is broken down to show the different areas for the regional offices, which are color-coded. The county lines are also shown. If you click on the area you are interested in, important information for working with water rights can be found here. Let's look at an area and go over the information that can be found. We are going to look at Area 23, the Bear River or Rich County. The first section on this page that comes up is the management section. This is where you will find any decrees or groundwater management plans for the area. Decrees typically come about through the adjudication process or from court cases. Groundwater management plans are typically 3-year studies on an area in cooperation with the USGS survey or other entities. You can also find water compacts in this area or other important documents or filings. The next section is the sources section. This section allows you to see different sources of water for the area and whether the rights for those sources have already been completely appropriated or if there are still rights available. If all rights have been appropriated, someone needing a water right would need to find one to purchase. Third is the general section. Important information here includes the duty values for the area, which will be discussed in depth later in this presentation. The section also has other information, for instance, where the application will be published. Next are references and modeling sections, which contain links to scanned documents for technical publications and file reports for your area. This section is actually not shown on this slide. Finally, please note that you can click on the highlighted area of the map to see a more detailed map of the covered area. Now let's move to filing applications. There are some elements that are common to all applications, whether they are applications to appropriate, changes, or exchanges. The first is that all require the name of the applicant and a valid address. The ownership interest in the water right is also needed, especially if there is more than one owner listed on the water right or the application. Water quantity is also important. Typically, water is measured by volume in acre feet, but sometimes the measurement is by flow, which is cubic feet per second. The point the water is diverted from is also important. For example, if you plan to dig a well and maybe you plan to use a ditch to get the water from the well to your irrigation site, the point of diversion is the location of the well, not where you are starting to irrigate. How the water will be used is needed. For example, irrigation, using water for a home, and/or stock watering, or other ways you plan to use the water. Also, the location where the water is being used is generally required. Finally, all owners will need to sign the application. For example, if your water right is in the name of a trust, you will need to sign as trustee. If you are the manager of an LLC, you will need to sign as the manager. If you are filing on a share or if you have shares in an irrigation company, the irrigation company is considered a party to the application and will also need to sign. If you are listed as joint tenants with somebody on the water right, both joint tenants will need to sign. Please note there is a filing fee for all applications. Having all of these details gathered before calling the division will make the process smoother. Whether you are calling about an application to appropriate, or in other words, a new water right, or if you are filing a change application, meaning you found an existing water right, you purchased it, and you want to change it and have it moved to your property. Now let's take a look at common filing mistakes. The first is that people will try to file a change application for a water right before updating ownership. Before a change can be made to a water right, the ownership must be updated on the division's records. For instance, there are underground water claims that are still in the original 1936 filer's name. In that instance, the complete chain of title will need to be submitted to show that you do in fact own that water right. If you have shares in an irrigation company, that would require reaching out to that irrigation company to make sure that the records are updated. The name on the stock certificate of that irrigation company will be the name that will be on the application itself. The next common filing mistake is someone will try to file a change application to a right that has not been segregated from a larger right. For example, say you have a water right with 100 acres of irrigation and you intend to move 1 acre of that irrigation to a new property, but the rest is going to remain the same as it has always been. Segregating that 1 acre to a new water right number allows you to file a change separate from the parent right. Another reason to segregate a right would be if you are one of several owners of a larger water right and you are the only one that intends to change the place of use or the point of diversion. Filing a segregation first makes it easier to make that change. Now let's look at how to segregate a water right. You will find the segregation request form under our applications forms link, or you can also find it from the drop-down menu in the water right itself. The form will self-populate what is listed on the water right currently. So you would enter the water right number in the form, and you will choose which owner is going to be segregating their portion. And then the form itself will list the water amount and the beneficial uses. If there is a change application associated with that water right, it will list the change application information, the water amount, and the uses there also. The part you will need to fill out is the amount that you are requesting to be segregated, both the water amount and the beneficial use. Also, on the change application, you will need to request the water amount and the beneficial uses there. All parties that have been clicked as the segregating parties will need to sign that application. Once that application is submitted with the required filing fee, the Division of Water Rights personnel will process that segregation request and we will assign it a new water right number. Now let's look at locating the placement of a water right. To do this, let's look at the Public Land Survey, which is the mapping system used by the Division of Water Rights. There are 2 systems used by the division. The first is the Salt Lake Basin Meridian, which covers the majority of the state. The second is the Uinta Basin Special. It is important to know which basin meridian you are filing in to prevent you from having to file amendatory applications later. For instance, if you want to file for a well permit in Roosevelt, which is in Duchesne County, that is part of the Uinta Special Basin Meridian. But if on your application and or on your map you list the Salt Lake Basin Meridian, instead of having your well location plot out in Roosevelt, it will actually plot out in the Stockton area in Tooele County. Now let's look at an example of how the public land survey system works. Imagine you are downtown in Salt Lake City at this red center point, which is Temple Square. Townships are the columns in the system and the ranges are the rows. So if you were to walk 6 miles due north, you would be standing on Township 1 North. Going back to the center point at Temple Square, if you walk 6 miles east, you would then be on Range 1 East. Between these township and ranges, we are able to locate different areas. For example, here is a 6-mile square located at Township 2 South, Range 2 West. That square can then be broken up into smaller sections in order to narrow down the place of use. The township and range is broken up into 36 numbered sections that are all 1 mile square or 640 acres. Now imagine a home on a small parcel in one of these sections. To narrow down an area of the section further, it is divided into 4 quarters labeled northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast. Further, each quarter section can also be divided into 4 quarters. This allows you to specify the water use being on the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of section 13 as an example. It is important to note that this is an ideal system where there are no mountains, rivers, or other geological formations that can break up the grid. If those instances do occur, if there are mountains, that creates what is known as lots instead of section numbers or quarter sections. Now let's look at some examples of marking points of diversion under this system. Each section has 8 section corners. For instance, the northeast corner, the north quarter corner, even though this is not an actual corner, the northwest corner, the west corner, the southwest corner, the south quarter corner, the southeast, and the east quarter corner. If we are trying to locate a point south 500 feet and west 1,200 feet from the east quarter corner, first we start from the appropriate section corner, then measure the 500 feet south, and then the 1,200 feet west. For another example, to locate a point at north 2,000 feet from the southeast corner, start at the southeast corner, measure due north for 2,000 feet. One final example, to locate a point south 1,300 feet and east 4,000 feet from the northwest corner, start at the northwest corner and measure 1,300 feet south from that corner, and then east 4,000 feet to get to that point of diversion. Marking a place of use is very similar to marking a point of diversion, except it is for an area rather than a single point. Let's do some practice runs on this also. The first example here is pretty straightforward. As mentioned earlier, the 4 quarters of a section can be divided into 4 quarters as well. So if we divide the northwest quarter of this section into 4 quarters, we can then mark the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter. If someone is using a larger area, though, we can also divide one of the quarters of a section into halves. Here we will mark the south half of the southwest quarter. Another practice place of use is to mark the northeast quarter of the southwest quarter. And last, let's mark the south half of the northeast and the south half of the northwest. In marking the place of use this way, you are not needing to list all the quarter sections. You can list them by half quarter sections. Another important part of the application process is knowing how much water will be used. Let's look at how to calculate that. Common terms, again, cubic feet per second is the flow rate of a water right, and acre foot is the volume amount. Most applications now are quantified in the acre foot amount, and for our purposes here, we will also use acre feet. So there are some basic figures that can help in calculating this. Here are duty calculations to help you determine how much water you will need for your application. The state is broken down into irrigation duties, and that would be an acre foot per irrigation season. The standard irrigation season is April 1st to October 31st. Irrigation duty values do vary by different areas in the state. Domestic duties, the full-time domestic use is 0.45 acre foot. A part-time domestic is 0.25 acre foot. Livestock, one equivalent livestock unit is 0.028 acre foot per year. An equivalent livestock unit would be 1 horse or a cow or large animal. We do prorate by the size of the animal, so 5 medium animals, which would be pigs, sheep, goats, etc., would equal 1 equivalent livestock unit. Likewise, it's 33 1/3 chickens to equal 1 equivalent livestock unit. Our website has a calculator that can be used to determine how many equivalent livestock units different livestock than these equate to. Now let's work through some examples. A rancher wants to start a farm near Dugway, Utah. How much water does he need for 5 acres of irrigation, 50 cattle year-round, and a full-time home? The irrigation duty in Dugway is 4 acre-feet per acre, and for all of our sample problems here, we will use that irrigation duty. So 5 acres at 4 acre-feet per acre. For the irrigation portion, he will need 20 acre-feet. 50 head of livestock would be times 0.02 acre-foot, because it is a year-round use, and that would be 1.4 acre-feet. Plus the 1 full-time home is 0.45 acre-foot. You add those acre-feet amount together to get the total diversion of 21.85 acre-feet. Sample problem number 2. A rancher has a water right for 300 cattle. How many sheep could he provide for with this water right? So remember, 5 sheep equals 1 cow, so 300 times 5, he can water 1,500 sheep. So if a farmer had cattle in the past and now he wants to change to sheep, would he need to file a change application for this? No, he would not. It does not matter what type of livestock you are watering as long as you have done the calculations correctly and not using more water than has been historically allotted for that stock watering use. Sample problem number 3. A developer wants to build a 10-lot subdivision in Delta, Utah. Each lot is supposed to have enough water for a quarter-acre irrigation, 2 horses, and a full-time home. How much diversion will the water right need to have? Let's figure out how much each lot would require. So, for a quarter-acre irrigation times 4, the irrigation portion of the application will need 1 acre-foot. 2 horses times 0.028 would be 0.056 acre-foot, and then the full-time home would be 0.45 acre-foot. You add these together for a total of 1.506 acre-feet needed per lot. But this is a 10-lot subdivision, so the total amount needed would be the 1.506 times 10, or 15.06 acre-feet. Sample problem number 4. A farmer has a water right in Brigham City that serves 150 cattle year-round. He wants to change the water right to supply 1 full-time home, 1 part-time home, 10 horses, and irrigation for his yard. What is the maximum area in acres that can be irrigated after the other uses are accounted for? So first, we need to determine how much water we are working with, how much the 150 cattle have used historically. So 150 cattle times 0.028 equals 4.2 acre-feet. So that is our beginning number. So for the full-time home, we need 0.45 acre-foot. For the part-time home, 0.25 acre-foot. For the 10 horses times 0.028, we need 0.28 acre-foot. You add these together for a total of 0.98 acre-foot, and then you subtract that 0.98 acre-foot from our beginning amount of 4.2 acre-feet, and the total remaining acre-feet is 3.22. So now we need to figure how much that 3.22 acre-feet will cover in irrigation. In this instance, we are going from acre-feet to land, and so we would divide by the irrigation duty of 4, and that gives us 0.805 acre that can be irrigated under this application. Now let's go into diversion and depletion. So diversion is the water that is removed from the source. For example, diverting 4 acre-feet of water to irrigate 1 acre of land. Depletion is the amount of water that is consumed after the water is applied. For example, diverting 4 acre-feet of water to irrigate 1 acre of land, only 2 acre-feet of water returns to the natural system. The other 2 acre-feet would be either consumed by the crop or lost through evaporation. When evaluating change applications, the state engineer looks at the historical values for both diversion and depletion. Neither value can be enlarged. So now let's go to sample problem number 5 to try to explain this a little more clearly. A water right owner has a water right for 3 acres of irrigation duty of 4 acre-feet per acre. He wants to change the use to include 50 cattle. How many acre-feet of water will he be able to divert after the change? Assume the rate of depletion for irrigation is 53%. So first we need to establish the historic diversion and depletion amounts. So 3 acres of irrigation times 4, the diversion for this water right is 12 acre-feet. So to figure the depletion, we are going to use the depletion rate of 53%. So 12 times 53% equals 6.36 acre-feet in depletion. Now, to figure the proposed uses on our change application to add in the 50 head of livestock, 50 head of livestock times 0.028 will equal 1.4 acre-feet. It is important to note that livestock is considered 100% consumptive. So that means the depletion is also going to be 1.4 acre-feet. So we take the beginning depletion amount, 6.36 acre-feet, we subtract out the 1.4 acre-feet, and that leaves us 4.96 acre-feet in depletion left to work with. So we take the 4.96 acre-feet, we're going to divide that by the 53%, and that will equal 9.36 acre-feet remaining diversion. Now we take the 9.3 acre-feet, divide it by the irrigation duty of 4, and that gives us 2.34 acres of irrigation that can now be watered under this application. So 1.4 acre-feet plus 9.36 acre-feet equals 10.76 acre-feet of diversion, which you will note is less than the 12 acre-feet that we began with. This is what we term a haircut. I put this into a table to kind of explain this a little easier. So we are going to start in our table with the historical uses of 3 acres of irrigation, 12 acre-feet of diversion, the depletion rate of 53%, the amount of depletion is 6.36 acre-feet. The proposed uses, we have 2.34 acres of irrigation, which takes 9.36 acre-feet diversion. With a depletion rate of 53%, the amount of depletion for the irrigation portion is now 4.96 acre-feet. The livestock, 50 head of livestock, the diversion amount would be 1.4 acre-feet. With a 100% depletion rate is 1.4 acre-feet depletion. So now you total the diversion amounts to 10.76 acre-feet. You total the depletion amounts, you get 6.36. That means neither of those beginning values have been exceeded. If we were to say, well, I'm going to keep diverting my 12 acre-feet, why can't I do that? If we look at the next table, it shows that if we keep diverting at 12 acre-feet, that would give us 2.65 acres of irrigation at 10.6 acre-feet diversion amount. 53% depletion would be 5.62 acre-feet in depletion, plus the 1.4 acre-feet stock watering, and now our depletion amount is 7.02 acre-feet. This would exceed the historic depletion amount by 0.66 acre-foot, which would be an enlargement of the water right, which cannot be allowed. Now let's move on to making an application map. We have an application map wizard that is very handy, and it is available on our website under the Applications Forms link from our main home page. It is under the Miscellaneous Applications heading. Once you go into that map wizard, it brings up an aerial photo of Utah, and you can zoom into your property, and then you can mark the point of diversion, and you can add in the place of use. You can zoom in using some of the search criteria. You can either zoom in if you know right where you are, you can use your mouse and zoom in, find crossroads or roads or other landmarks to help you locate it, or you can search by parcel number or sometimes by address. Please note that the application map wizard cannot be used as a proof map. If you search for a parcel number, then it will show up as a hatched area on the map, which would be your place of use. All application maps need to show the point of diversion and place of use. You can also include on the application map a signature block for signatures. You will need to sign the application map if the map comes in separate from the application it is supporting. We will only need one signature on the application map. Here is a sample application map. The pink A is the point of diversion, and the hatched parcel would be the place of use. Now let's go into the map search from our main homepage on our website. The link to map search is right on the homepage. This map search can show points of diversion in an area. In this sample slide, the red icons are wells, the blue ones are surface points of diversion. You can see some red icons that are circled with a number in it. That means there are multiple water rights associated with that particular point of diversion. If you click on that point of diversion, it will bring up a dialog box that will show you the water right numbers. And if you click on the water right number, it will bring up more information pertaining to that, with also a hyperlink to the actual water right that will bring up the water right details page. Under the layers section, you can turn on the parcel lines, you can turn on the PLSS lines or the Public Land Survey System lines. You can also change base maps. The default is an aerial photo of Utah. You can change that to the U.S. topographical maps or other base maps that are available under that tab. Then if you see the next tab over, it is a search tab. You can search by application number, water right number, address, county parcel, PLS location. You can search by well identification number. You can do dam safety searches. There's all kind of searches you can do under that tab. Then under the Tools tab, this is where you would go to print the map. You can also do measurements from that map. Say you want to know the distance from one well to another. You can measure in feet or miles. You can do polygraph. You can digitize a polygraph, and it will tell you how many acres there are in that polygraph. Also under Tools, you can locate the point of diversion, and it will give you the PLS coordinates if you do not already know that. So that is a very handy tool that we use daily at the Division of Water Rights. So in summary, what we have talked about today is some of our website features for different types of searches. We talked about elements common to all applications. We did an introduction to Public Land Survey System. We did basic water right calculations, and we did how to use the Division's website to create an application map.